The first two words of Dante's poem, Nel Mezzo, are like the beginnings of a scripture. As we read the poem, we begin to realize that Dante is writing his own testimony, his own scripture, most specifically his own gospel. And deeply steeped as he is in the tradition of scripture and in his admiration for the power of language that he understood as poetry, to which he had already dedicated his whole life. Dante understood that to begin the poem is to immerse himself, to allow to happen in his mind, in his heart, on the paper, through his pen, a mystery, the mystery of beginning. But the beginning does not occur at the starting point. The beginning of the poem is in the middle of life, in the middle of this life, which is our life, not just Dante's life. As we read on, we realize that in the beginning, the whole poem has already been put before us. Nel mezzo, the middle, contains the beginning, the end, and everything that occurs in between. All that happens in the poem, the misadventure of the dark wood, the harrowing journey through the inferno, the difficult climb up the mountain of purgatory, and the imaginative release of the paradiso. All of these take place in exactly the same place where the poem began, at the center, in the middle, because that center is not a place in the physical world. It's a space within ourselves. It is what the poem would call our soul. It's the space where the whole story unfolds and where the story is decided in terms of how it will end, and when it ends, how it will begin again. When Dante awakes from the final vision, he awakes to find himself exactly where he was when the poem began. His journey has been outside of time, outside of space. So when it's over, he hasn't moved. It's not simply that he hasn't gone anywhere, but rather he realizes now he did not need to go anywhere. The mystery and the word, the beginning and the end, are all within him. They're also within us. They're the place of our freedom, the place where the meaning and the story of our lives and of our identity begin, unfold, and end, and where the truth of what we make of ourselves is decided. Because of the extraordinary and mysterious power of these two words, in order to read the poem, in order to read even the first line of the poem, we have to be willing to accept that we're not going anywhere. Freedom requires leisure. We can't be in a rush. But more than that, we can't allow ourselves to be driven. The reality of our lives in contemporary society is that we are driven. Just as Dante was driven back down the hill by the three beasts, we're driven by all kinds of forces of society, of our own psyche, of our positions, the demands upon us, the obligations that we have, the ambitions that we want to follow, to constantly move forward, to constantly rush ahead and do something. The idea of contemplative reading is not simply a matter of how we look at a literary text or a work of art. It's a matter of practicing the leisure that freedom gives us, but which also freedom requires. The very first words of the poem are an injunction, an imperative, a petition on the part of Dante. Don't think you're going to find answers Don't think you're going to find adventure. Don't think you're going to discover a secret by running ahead and being a tourist in the realms of eternity, making sure you touch all the bases, see all the places, check off each stop on the list. Nothing new will happen in the story except what is always beginning to happen anew inside of you.